Ready to prove that you can ace the Google Professional Cloud Architect exam? Let's see what you've got. We're about to do real exam practice questions, followed by the correct answer and the reasoning behind it. And if you like the exam tool we're using in this video, this is just a taste. Because Alta 3's Cert Crusher platform gives you access to the most vital IT certifications. It's the fastest way to crush your next cert. And with that said, let's move on to question number 1. Your company has a set of virtual machines running on Google Cloud that need to interact with a critical on-premises database using internal IPs. The requirement is to ensure high data transfer rates and low latency. What solution would you propose? Set up a cloud-dedicated interconnect. So, a cloud-dedicated interconnect, it's like getting your own private, super fast highway lane directly between your office and Google Cloud. It's perfect for when you need to move huge amounts of data very quickly and reliably, especially for any applications that can't handle any lag. You are responsible for maintaining the reliability of a globally distributed e-commerce platform hosted on Google Cloud's App Engine. The platform requires an update, and it's crucial that the update process does not disrupt the user experience or availability. Which deployment method should you choose to achieve this? Use Canary deployment to gradually shift traffic to the new version. Canary deployment is the perfect way to roll out an update because you start by sending the new version to just a small group of users, like the canaries in the coal mine is where this comes from. And that lets you watch the update in real time, and if anything breaks, you can put it back immediately, ensuring that most users never even see an issue. As a cloud architect, you need to establish a data management strategy for a Google Cloud storage bucket that holds confidential client records. The strategy must ensure that files older than 90 days are automatically removed while allowing recovery of any deleted files within a 5-day window. What approach should you take to fulfill these requirements? The correct answer here is B, and this is a clever trick for managing files. You set a main rule to delete files after 90 days, but first, you turn on versioning, which keeps every old and deleted copy. Then you set a second rule that specifically targets those old copies and then deletes them after only 5 days. And this setup guarantees you clean up old files, but still have a 5-day window to recover anything that was accidentally deleted. You are tasked with configuring a cloud-based e-commerce platform on Google Kubernetes Engine for a retail company. The platform's web interface must be highly available, requiring a minimum of 5 instances running at all times. Which configuration parameter in the Kubernetes deployment file should you adjust to meet this requirement? The answer is B, because in a Kubernetes setup, the spec.replicas field is simply the instruction that tells the system how many identical copies of your app should be running at all times. And by setting that number to 5, you guarantee that if one of those fails, there's always 4 others ready to handle the traffic, which ensures high availability. A financial services company is migrating its critical applications to Google Cloud. These applications handle confidential client information and require secure management of sensitive data such as API tokens and database passwords. Which approach ensures the highest level of security for managing these secrets in the cloud environment? The answer is B, because Google Cloud Secret Manager is like your digital safe deposit box. It's the secure place to store and manage all your sensitive secrets, which would include passwords and API keys. It centralizes everything, controls who can access it, and keeps an audit log of every time that a secret is used. Pretty nice. A software development team is working with a monolithic repository and requires a CI/CD pipeline that initiates a build only when modifications are made to a particular folder. What is the most effective solution? The answer is C, because Cloud Build has a feature that lets you set up an automatic start button, a trigger, that only activate if a change is made to files in a very specific folder in your repository, which prevents the system from wasting time rebuilding the whole application just because somebody updated a typo in, say, the documentation. A software company is shifting from a traditional single application system to a microservices based architecture using Google Cloud tools such as Cloud Spanner, Cloud Storage, and Cloud Pub Sub. What approach should be taken to test each microservice independently using cloud emulators before they are integrated into the larger system? The answer is A. Because the best way to test microservices is to give each one its own isolated testing sandbox. You can create separate automation pipelines that set up and then tear down a temporary simulated environment for each service. And this ensures that testing one service doesn't accidentally affect any other services or the live production system. A tech startup specializing in real-time analytics wants to enhance its infrastructure to support AI-driven insights and quickly adapt to evolving industry regulations. What architectural strategy should the startup adopt to best meet these objectives? The answer is B, because switching to a microservices architecture using GKE and cloud functions is a great move because it means that you break your giant application into small individual pieces that can scale and be updated like really quickly, which is perfect for fast-moving projects like AI analysis and adapting to the inevitable new regulations. What is the best approach to remove sensitive information, such as personal identifiers and credit card details from data, before storing it in a cloud database for compliance purposes? The answer is D. The Cloud Data Loss Prevention API is like a high-tech privacy scanner. It automatically looks for sensitive info like credit card numbers or addresses, and it gives you tools to cover it up, scramble it, or just remove it entirely before you store it, which helps you meet those privacy compliance rules. How can you ensure that a logging agent is automatically deployed on every node within a Kubernetes engine cluster? The answer is a daemon set. And a daemon set is that special instructions in Kubernetes that guarantees that one copy of a specific application will run on every node inside of your cluster. And that's perfect for essential system tools like log collectors or monitoring agents that need to be everywhere in order to do their job effectively. A multinational corporation is launching a mission-critical service on Google Cloud that demands exceptional uptime and a comprehensive disaster recovery plan. The service will cater to a vast international user base and manage confidential information. Which infrastructure design best meets those needs? The answer is A. To achieve high availability, you design your service to run in multiple regions because that minimizes the impact of a total failure in a single geographic area. And when you pair that with multi-regional storage, data redundancy, and a global load balancer, which would direct traffic more efficiently, then your application stays online and stays fast for everyone. You are responsible for a PostgreSQL database hosted on a Google Cloud VM that is encountering performance issues during high traffic periods. The database is currently on an E2 Standard 8 instance with a 200 gigabyte SSD persistent disk. Due to operational constraints, the server cannot be rebooted until the scheduled maintenance window. What immediate, cost-effective step can you take to enhance performance? The answer is C. Just simply increase the size of your SSD persistent disk because larger disks are designed to handle more input-output requests per second and they move data a lot faster. And that's just an immediate cost-effective way to get better performance without actually restarting anything. A tech company is hosting a vital service on Google Kubernetes Engine that must remain operational during updates. What deployment method should be employed to maintain service continuity? The answer is A. Reason why is because the rolling update process is designed to update your application one piece at a time. And it makes sure that each new piece is working perfectly before it replaces the old one. And this ensures that your service is always available and that your users never experience an outage during the update. And readiness and liveness checks are also part of that equation, making sure that everything's on the up and up before your pods come online. A company is deploying a multi-tier web application on Google Cloud using compute engine instances within a single VPC. To adhere to the principle of least privilege, how should the network be configured so that each application tier communicates only with its adjacent tier? The answer is D. Network tags, they're like custom labels that you put on your virtual machines. You can then write up firewall rules that say, only let traffic from instances with the database tag talk to instances with the app tag, blah, 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 blah. This greatly simplifies how you manage traffic, and it follows that security rule of least privilege. An organization plans to store 500 terabytes of historical transaction records in the cloud to ensure data resilience and explore serverless data analysis capabilities. What action should they take? The answer is C, because BigQuery is the ultimate serverless warehouse for analyzing massive data sets. It's perfect for testing modern serverless analytics on your data, which directly matches the goal described in the question. Whereas some of the other options listed here, like cloud storage, they're mainly for long-term data archival. As the chief data officer at a healthcare startup, you are tasked with creating anonymized patient activity reports and establishing a policy for the removal of personal data. What approach should you take? The answer is D. Because again, BigQuery, it's fantastic for storing huge amounts of data efficiently and then running complex analysis on it. Plus, it has these built-in features for managing how long that you keep the data. And then you can use a tool like Google Data Studio to pull that data out, and you can create really beautiful, really easy to understand visual reports. A financial services company is developing a cloud-based application that requires secure communication with external services. How should the company store API keys to ensure they are protected? The answer is D. Because the gold standard for securing sensitive information like API keys is to use a secret management system like Google Secret Manager. Systems like this, they encrypt your secrets, they control who can access them with really specific permissions, and logs every time somebody uses them, which is a really centralized and secure way to track your most sensitive credentials. A financial services company is transitioning to the cloud and needs to protect sensitive client data. What strategy should the IT team adopt to ensure that only authorized personnel can access this data while maintaining operational efficiency? The answer is B, because this is a really powerful two-part security strategy. That a service perimeter acts like a moat around your most sensitive data, which restricts access to approved services. And meanwhile, Access Context Manager lets authorized employees access non-sensitive resources like documentation without actually slowing them down. So that keeps security tight where it matters the most while still maintaining workflow. A media streaming service needs to analyze large volumes of user interaction data to understand viewing patterns. Which solution is best suited for storing and analyzing this data efficiently? The answer is C. You should really use cloud storage to securely hold all your raw user interaction data because it's massive and it's also reliable. And then you use BigQuery because it's designed to run lightning fast real time queries over huge data sets, which makes it the ideal tool for analyzing what users are doing right now. A tech startup is using Google Kubernetes Engine to run its microservices. They want to ensure that their services can automatically adjust the number of running instances based on CPU load. Which strategy should they implement? The answer is C, the horizontal pod autoscaler, which is like an automated resource manager. It just constantly watches how busy your application is. So in this case, we're measuring CPU utilization. And then it automatically adjusts the number of pod replicas that are running, which makes sure that your system is scaling efficiently to handle demand. A logistics company is experiencing intermittent surges in data from its package tracking system, causing processing delays. As a cloud architect, you need to implement a cost effective strategy to handle these data spikes without adding more virtual machines. What approach should you take? The answer here is B. Because Cloud Pub Sub, it's the best tool for managing data loads that constantly spike and drop. It's a fully managed message service that queues up all incoming data no matter how fast it comes in, which makes sure that everything is processed in order without losing any messages during peak times. A multinational entertainment company is developing a cloud based platform to stream both on demand and live video content to a large audience. The platform must support millions of concurrent users while maintaining cost effectiveness, minimal latency, and high availability. Which compute architecture should be implemented to meet these requirements? The answer here is A, because managed instant groups with auto scaling on Compute Engine are perfect for handling things like video streaming. They automatically increase or decrease the number of servers based on live user demand, which keeps the platform really responsive and really cost efficient during massive live broadcasts. And that ensures high availability, low latency, which is critical for a smooth streaming experience. You are tasked with designing a cost effective solution for a company that needs to periodically process and move data from its ERP system to a BigQuery dataset. The task involves significant data transformation and is not time sensitive, allowing for interruptions. To minimize expenses, you decide to utilize preemptive VMs. What is the most suitable strategy to implement this solution? The answer is A, because Cloud Composer, which is Google's version of Apache Airflow, is the ideal tool for orchestrating complex workflows like this, because it can manage the entire multi step process of both transferring and transforming data, and you can reduce costs by having it use these really cheap preemptible VMs for tasks that can be interrupted. You are tasked with designing a cloud based system for a retail company that requires efficient handling of streaming data for real time analytics. Which Google Cloud service should you implement to ensure scalability and cost effectiveness? The answer is D, Dataflow. And Dataflow is a managed service that's built to process both data that's constantly coming in and large chunks of historical data, so stream and batch, respectively. And it automatically handles scaling and performance, which makes it the perfect, cost efficient choice for real time analytics tasks. You are tasked with designing a cloud architecture for a media streaming service, anticipating a tenfold increase in user traffic over the next 3 years, with projections reaching 500,000 concurrent viewers. The service also plans to integrate AI driven content recommendations, which necessitates enhanced data processing capabilities. Which architectural approach should you propose to ensure scalability and accommodate future growth while keeping operational complexity low? The answer here is A, because we want to use a multi-region deployment with a global load balancer because that's key to both speed and stability. It sends user requests to whatever is the closest, healthiest server, which prevents any one region from becoming overloaded. And when you combine that with auto-scaling, it ensures that resources are always available to handle any demand spikes or unexpected regional outages. A multinational corporation needs to establish a secure and reliable connection between its headquarters data center and Google Cloud to utilize internal services hosted in a virtual private cloud. The connection must ensure high bandwidth, sub 10 millisecond latency, and prevent sensitive data from being exposed to the public internet. Which solution best meets these requirements? The answer here is B, because a dedicated interconnect provides a private direct line to Google's network, which gives you high performance and security. And when you integrate it with Cloud Router and BGP, you get a setup that can automatically find the best route, but then instantly switch to a backup path if the main connection fails, which meets all your performance and security requirements. A logistics company needs to monitor real-time sensor data from a large fleet of vehicles to quickly identify unusual patterns and update their control center displays with minimal delay. Which Google Cloud Platform architecture should they implement? The answer here is A, because the best real-time monitoring setup uses Cloud PubSub for quickly collecting data, and then Cloud Dataflow and streaming mode for processing it immediately. And what that does is that it allows for instant anomaly detection. And then in this story, BigQuery would serve as the massive scalable database for storing the processed data and then updating your dashboards. A company has deployed a set of virtual machines in a managed instance group behind an HTTP or HTTPS load balancer. The virtual machines are unexpectedly rebooting, and the load balancer's health checks are not passing. What action should be taken to properly configure the backend and resolve the issue? The answer is B. And the reason why your load balancer is unnecessarily restarting instances is most likely a missing firewall rule. The load balancer's built-in health checks are trying to talk to the backend services, but they're being blocked. So you got to make sure that a firewall rule is in place that specifically allows traffic from the health check IP ranges to reach your servers on the correct port. As a cloud architect, you are responsible for a distributed application running behind a global load balancer. Recently, you've observed that virtual machines in the auto-scaling group are frequently being terminated and restarted. The health check logs reveal connection timeout errors. What action should you take to address this problem? The answer here is D, because if you're seeing connection timeout errors, it almost certainly means a firewall rule is missing or incorrect, and that it's blocking crucial health check traffic from reaching your servers. You need to verify your backend service setup, and most importantly, you need to confirm that a firewall rule is configured to permit the health check IP ranges to communicate with your instances. A media company is aiming to enhance the global distribution of its streaming service, ensuring high availability and reduced latency for users worldwide. Which strategy should they implement? The answer is D, because using Cloud CDN with cloud storage is a really powerful combination. It caches all your content on servers that are scattered globally, which dramatically decreases load times and boosts availability. And when you adjust the cache settings based on how often the files are accessed, helps optimize the performance even more. To ensure compliance with GDPR for a web service handling personal information of EU citizens, which approach should be taken? The answer here is A, because to comply with GDPR, you must store the data within a regional storage solution located in the EU. And to complete the security requirements, you would use Google Cloud Armor to block web attacks like DDoS, and you would rely on cloud audit logs to keep an unchangeable record of who accessed and who changed the data. A global logistics company is transitioning its tracking microservice to Google Cloud. The service must be accessible worldwide, defend against DDoS attacks, and adhere to stringent security protocols. Which architecture should you choose? The answer here is B, and here's why. Cloud Run is fantastic because it lets you run your containerized applications in a serverless way with automatic scaling. And when you pair that with cloud load balancing and cloud armor, you get global accessibility, protection from web attacks, and compliance, all without having to manage the underlying systems. A company needs to deploy a web application that serves users worldwide, ensuring minimal latency, high availability, and automatic traffic routing based on user location. Which configuration best meets these requirements for both the front-end and back-end components? The answer is D. Utilizing a global HTTP load balancer with Cloud CDN is the optimal setup for a global website. It directs user traffic to the closest, healthiest server for low latency, high availability, and the CDN takes it a step further by caching static content near the user, which makes the whole experience much faster. A media analytics firm needs to handle user interaction data for immediate insights and also for comprehensive weekly and monthly analysis. Which set of Google Cloud services should be utilized to effectively support these requirements? The answer here is B, because Google Cloud's data flow is an expert at managing both streaming data and batch data, which makes it perfectly suited for scenarios that require both real-time analysis and periodic processing. A tech startup is developing a real-time analytics platform on Google Cloud Platform to support its e-commerce recommendation engine. The platform must be highly scalable, deliver low latency responses, and ensure data security. What is the best strategy to achieve these objectives? The answer here is A, because the solution described in that answer builds a highly secure, high-performance system. PubSub handles the data streaming, Dataflow processes the data, and then Cloud Bigtable stores the large data sets for these low-latency lookups. Cloud IAM ensures that only authorized users can access the data, and Cloud KMS securely manages the encryption keys. A media company is experiencing performance issues with their video processing application, which runs on a custom Ubuntu 1804 image on a Compute Engine E2 Standard 4 instance. The application frequently writes numerous small log files, leading to I/O bottlenecks during peak usage. They seek a quick and cost-effective solution to enhance performance without major disruptions. What action should they take? The answer here is A, because local SSDs are specialized super fast disks that provide much higher performance than standard disks, especially for apps that constantly need to read and write small files. And they're super easy to implement with minimal disruption, and they offer an immediate performance boost. Your team is experiencing frequent rollbacks during updates to a critical application. What strategy should you implement to minimize these disruptions? The answer here is B, because the move from the monolith application that the question is describing to a system of smaller independent pieces, which is what microservices are, is definitely a smart move because it allows for isolated updates and rollbacks So if one small service breaks, then you only roll back a tiny piece, which ensures the failure doesn't crash the entire platform. A retail company is planning to transition its customer analytics platform from an in-house data center to Google Cloud. The platform must enhance its performance and adhere to strict data protection laws that mandate encryption during data transmission. Which strategy should they adopt? The answer here is C, because deploying on GKE means that you can do really efficient scaling and management. And when you use an external load balancer, that will ensure that all traffic is encrypted, which meets your compliance rules. And when you add Google Cloud Armor, that provides additional security against web attacks, and it lets you create rules to block known malicious traffic. A company wants to ensure that their web service remains accessible to their international clients even if they need to replace or upgrade their server. They need a consistent IP address for their DNS records to avoid frequent updates. What strategy should they employ to achieve this goal while keeping costs and downtime to a minimum? The answer here is C, because setting aside a static external IP address and then linking it with cloud DNS, the company guarantees that its web service always has the same public facing address. And that prevents the need to scramble and update DNS records every time that the server changes, which is bound to make the client very happy. A global entertainment company is seeking a robust and scalable infrastructure to host and stream live events. The solution must support high traffic, secure content storage, real time analytics, and ensure minimal service interruptions. What architecture should be proposed? The answer here is D, because the architecture we're describing here uses the Video Intelligence API for smart analysis, it uses cloud storage for secure and scalable hosting, and cloud load balancing to make sure that the streaming is fast and it's highly available. It's a really comprehensive, managed solution for modern video delivery. A global retail company has distinct analytics teams in the Americas, Europe, and Asia. Each team operates its own data warehouse, but the leadership wants to unify key performance indicators across all regions using Looker. Your task is to create a solution that supports centralized KPI modeling and governance while still allowing regional teams to independently analyze their data. What approach should you take? The answer here is C, because to ensure consistent reporting, LookML creates standardized definition for KPI metrics across all of your teams. And integrating Looker with a shared BigQuery dataset that uses row-level security makes sure that regional teams only see their specific data, and that's what balances scalability, security, and governance in the answer to this question. An international retail company is transitioning its legacy monolithic application to a cloud environment. The solution must ensure high availability, adhere to security and compliance standards, protect data privacy, optimize costs, and minimize downtime during the transition. Which strategy is most appropriate? A lot of reading on these answers, but the correct answer is B. Spot VMs offer huge cost savings for tasks that can tolerate sudden shutdowns. And by using them with managed instance groups and by using job checkpointing, then the system can automatically handle interruptions while still meeting service level agreements. A tech startup often needs to quickly set up and dismantle cloud environments for short-term experiments. How can they effectively utilize Google Cloud Deployment Manager to streamline this process? So Google Cloud Deployment Manager, it lets users define their resources in a declarative way by writing these configuration files. And doing that really makes for an automated and consistent management of your resources, which makes it ideal for temporary setups. A retail company needs to store transaction logs for a 3-month period to meet audit requirements and perform data analysis. After this period, the logs should be automatically purged. How should the company achieve this? Correct answer here is A. If you store your logs in cloud storage and if you use object lifecycle management, then what that means is that it's going to automatically delete these things after the retention period. And that meets, compliance needs with that minimal manual intervention. A tech startup is building a global e-commerce platform on Google Cloud. The system's database layer is critical and must ensure high availability and scalability to handle fluctuating traffic. Which database service should be selected to fulfill these needs? The answer here is D. Cloud Spanner is the ideal database for what's being described here because it offers global distribution, massive horizontal growth, and really critically strong consistency. It can automatically scale across regions and it can make sure that you have high availability and low latency anywhere in the world. A national research institute is tasked with creating a secure and scalable system for managing and analyzing genomic data. The system must efficiently handle large data sets with minimal latency, ensure data security, support real-time analytics, and maintain high availability while being cost effective. Which solution should they choose? The answer here is D, because the best healthcare architecture uses the Cloud Healthcare API for securely managing sensitive medical data, uses cloud storage for reliable data storage, and cloud load balancing to make sure that the service is highly available and fast for anyone who needs it. A tech startup, Innovate Apps, frequently spins up temporary Kubernetes clusters on Google Cloud for development purposes, resulting in fluctuating expenses. The finance department needs a clear understanding of which teams are incurring these costs. What strategy should be implemented to provide this clarity while allowing the development teams to continue their work efficiently? The answer here is D, because by sending all your billing data to BigQuery and making sure that your resources all have labels, that lets you perform really powerful cost analyses. And that would allow the finance team to track and assign expenses to the correct teams, which would give them clear accountability. Hey, that's it! So how'd you do? Let us know in the comments, and let us also know what other certification exams you'd like to see. But if you really want to keep testing and preparing yourself, head to the link in the description to Cert Crusher. With Cert Crusher, you get full access to every major practice exam to make sure that you are ready for the real thing. I'm Chad from Ulta 3. Thanks for watching. Best of luck on your upcoming exam, and I'll see you next time.